Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now, our first story comes from Throwaway Daki from the Am I Overreacting subreddit and says, am I overreacting? My wife is way more affectionate after coming back from a bachelorette party. I, 34 male, have been with my wife, 34 female, for 10 years. She has never been an affectionate person, and I'm the opposite. I'm very tactile. I love hugging, kissing, cuddling, holding hands, touching her curves. I'm deeply attracted to her and I have done my best to cope with minimal reciprocation. It's been an issue for the both of us. Nothing deal breaking, we're just different kinds of people and we've accepted that. We still love each other. A month ago, she was gone for a few days at a friend's bachelorette party out of state. I stayed with the kiddo at home. We talked each night before she went to bed, no worries. I've got my insecurities, having been in prior relationships with a habitual cheater, but she's never done anything that gives me a reason not to trust her. Everything's good. We pick her up from the airport and she goes on about how listening to the other participants of the party complain about their husbands, she feels lucky to have me. And it makes her appreciate me more. I'm over the moon. It's incredible to hear her say nice things about me to my face. I'm ecstatic. It feels great. Over the next few days, we have incredible sex like maybe never before. She runs her hands through my hair as she walks past me in the house. She runs her hands over my body. She's never acted this way. I'm over here just getting washed away in the love, but at the same time, I'm curious. My insecurities get the best of me and I check her phone while she sleeps one night. Several hours before she flew back home, she received a message in a group chat with one other partygoer, the bride-to-be, and my wife. They had a separate chat with the entire party. The message was one of those text-on-image meme things, whatever they are called. It said, married people with kids and careers find time to have affairs. Don't let a single person tell you they're too busy for you. My wife responded with a skull emoji. Nothing else in the thread. So now I'm a little worried something happened. Am I being gaslit and love-bombed after an affair? Did she actually alter her perspective during her trip and is making a concerted effort to show appreciation? Am I overreacting? Because of that last bit and the skull emoji, it kind of pointed it in the direction for me that someone in the group has possibly done it, but maybe not her. And that's what the skull emoji was all about. Mary Berry said something similar who said, when my sister had an affair with her ex, I became extremely close to my husband and very cuddly and clingy. It's like knowing my sister was cheating, it could happen to me type panic. I feel like one of the girls is cheating and everyone knows. It became a joke and your partner became conscious that maybe they were giving you an opportunity, or if that woman ex who is cheating can cheat and have a perfect relationship, that you could do the same. Honestly, you might be two people afraid of being cheated on by each other right now, and maybe you should bond over that instead of letting it divide you. Special Pop says, you're bringing up a great point. When my wife found out that one of her friends had stepped out of her longtime boyfriend and she shares a house with, my wife got super affectionate. She would tell me how happy she was with me and that she felt really grateful that she was with a guy like me. She even started getting sexually adventurous and ordered some really cool underthings. It occurred to me that she might be stepping things up because her friend had stepped out. Of course, being that kind of guy that I am, I made sure to give her all the affirmation she needs to know that she is wonderful. It seems like Opie's wife is most likely doing the same thing. Bro is totally overreacting. Apprehensive Ad says, look, it can be a bunch of things. She could have seen some of her other friends and women she didn't know with their single girl, or divorce horror stories, and she came home very grateful. The skull message might be a reference to speaking about an affair she had, or possibly her girlfriend was trying to bully her about considering an affair. It doesn't hurt to have a conversation about her overall happiness, and how you enjoyed being loved bombed, but was there something that motivated it? Just don't get defensive or accusatory. Let it play out. Resident says, Jesus bro, that message is quite the curveball. It could range from innocent joke to full-on affair. Nothing I can say will erase that huge question mark. If it helps, I have found going on guys' trips makes me more affectionate for my wife as well. That part lines up with my anecdotal evidence at least. But OP comes into the post 3 days later and says I wasn't expecting so many comments the first time around. It was a good reminder of what a petri dish humans on the internet are. After going through everything, the majority of comments supported that my wife, 34 female, was being truthful with me, 34 male. And like I said, I've never had a reason not to trust her. I appreciate everyone who had level-headed takes, helped me remember how wonderful of a person my wife is, and provided impetus for me to make the conscious decision to shut out my insecurities and truly trust her. It was entertaining to see the few trolls give their 2 cents, and a couple of bizarre DMs really spice things up. We've had a couple of heart-to-heart conversations since my first post, and at this point we're in the best place, maybe ever, of our relationship. Our communication has never been so transparent, honest and empathetic. I brought up the meme, the group chat, etc. And because my wife is so comfortable and understanding, she wasn't upset. She didn't take offense because I was able to communicate that it stemmed from my own insecurities. Nothing she did. She explained that during the trip, the other woman, let's call her Ashley, in the smaller group chat, not the engaged, sent the meme after talking shit all weekend long about how she fucks around on her husband, she doesn't respect him, etc. My wife said Ashley was essentially fishing for validation of her shitty behavior from the other women at the Bachelorette party the whole time they were there. At one point, Ashley stayed at the Airbnb by herself while everyone else went out to have fun. Later on, Ashley posted on social media as if she was at this particular venue with the rest of the party. That was discussed and deemed suspicious by other ladies. I should also clarify, my wife only knew the bride to be at this party. She did not know Ashley or anybody else until she met them on the trip. I say that because a few commented on the last post that even if it was someone else that cheated, to everyone's knowledge at the party, it'd be highly suspect for my wife to condone this behavior and be friends with this person. But Ashley is a stranger. Neither of us know her husband. My wife's engaged friend doesn't even live in our state. Anyways, I've been completely open and honest with my wife since the last post. Well, except for the Reddit posts. We're doing incredibly well. I'm basking in all the wonderful affection I dreamed of for years. I'm just hoping this will last a long time. I'm glad I didn't do anything more stupid when I was overreacting. A commenter says to OP, that's awesome. Sounds like your wife saw someone else playing with fire and is appreciating what she has now. I loved the comment on the previous post that said something to the effect of that the grass is greener when you take care and water it. And the same is true for relationships. D38 says, I'm glad I was wrong and you two are okay. OP replies saying, me too, buddy. And there were some comments on the back of this that were still suspicious that, maybe she was a bit too calm after she may be being accused of cheating here, whilst others were saying that they're glad that things just worked out in the end and they can understand where the wife was coming from. But what do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from a throwaway account in the relationship advice subreddit and says, my boyfriend, 30 male, has a close female friend, 34 female, who blatantly dislikes me, 29 female, and makes no secret of it. I've reached a stage where it's her or me. How can I confront my boyfriend? I don't know if I'm being wildly unreasonable and jealous over this, so I need some outside opinions. I, 29 female, have been with my boyfriend 30 male for 3 years, and we share an apartment. He has a female friend, Nell, 34 female, and they were friends for years before I came along. I had no issue with their closeness. I have male friends and knew I'd be a hypocrite to leap to judgments, but at this point I feel like I'm justified in thinking the way I do about her. The first time I met her, it was extremely obvious Nell didn't like me. She came into the bar all excited to see my boyfriend, before noticing me. Her entire demeanor changed. She shook my hand and dug her nails into my skin, before ignoring me the rest of the night. She even seemed upset at one point that I took the seat beside my boyfriend and quietly left halfway through the evening without saying goodbye. So it's safe to say my first impression of her wasn't good. But I tried to reason with myself that not everyone gets along, and I don't need to be friends with my boyfriend's friends. However, as time passed, it became really clear Nell's attitude towards me wasn't improving. She had a way of openly mocking me in front of groups of people, making side comments or loudly joking about my voice or appearance. My boyfriend would stand there and say nothing, And after the fact, when I asked him about it, he said he hadn't noticed. She'd also make a show hugging him hello and goodbye, and not me. She would mix that kind of stuff in with smiles and basic politeness, so it was tough to articulate exactly what she had done. I felt very much like I was back in high school. From that point on, I basically decided that I didn't need to have someone like that in my life, so just stopped going to things she was at. I haven't seen her in about a year. My boyfriend still sees her regularly and they text often. I'm now at the stage where I fully believe they've either dated in the past or have something going on now. I've tried gently bringing this up, but he denies they ever dated and makes me feel like I'm being jealous and bitter by asking. I end up suppressing those feelings before something brings them up again. I've reached the end of my tether with it. The final straw for me came the other day, when my boyfriend left his phone open and I saw the text exchange between the two. Nell had sent him a heart emoji and my boyfriend had written something about how he was thinking of her. I know I should have said something then and there, but I felt numb and decided to go to bed. I'm trying to work out how to handle this. Is it possible nothing's going on here? It's something I've tried arguing in my head, but then something else pops up that makes me doubt it. Maybe friends do just send hearts. And I'm making this up because I don't care for Nell. I don't want that to be the case. I'm basically at a point where I feel he either has to tell me the truth and restrict contact with Nell, or else I don't feel like I can maintain the relationship. I feel constantly disrespected, and I want something to change, but don't know how to go about it. Any advice would be so welcomed. We covered a similar story to this recently, and if I was in your shoes and I was openly disrespected like that, and he's saying nothing about it, it says it all to me. I feel like he's just going to choose her every time. And the message is, I can understand a heart between friends, and emojis get thrown around willy-nilly these days. I love a willy-nilly. But adding on, I'm thinking of you at the same time, it's tipping it over the edge, right? You're the third wheel in your own relationship, and you certainly don't deserve that. Chonkosaurus Rex says, to be honest, I don't think there is a point in giving him an ultimatum, as I don't think he would choose you, or if he did, he'd resent you for it and make you feel even more crazy. You never notice how Nell treats you, he never calls her out on it. When you point it out, he makes you feel like you're jealous and crazy instead of working with you and implementing healthy boundaries. You have to repress your feelings about their relationship because of how he makes you feel whenever you try to bring it up. That is not a partner that will choose you, because he never has. He chooses Nell. Whenever Nell hurt your feelings, he chose to endorse her actions by not standing up for you. Whenever you point something out, he chose to protect Nell and make you feel like you were jealous and bitter. He has always been in her corner, endorsing and enforcing her actions, even when she is hurting your feelings. I would personally skip the ultimatum and just leave. Connie Marble Index says, anyone who lets someone mock you in public isn't your friend. Your problems are bigger than her. He will still be the person who let this happen to you, and you don't trust him. You think he might be hiding a past or current relationship. This also won't be solved. Trust your gut. Senior says he's having his cake and eating it. Him acting all ignorant of her hostility is because he doesn't want to confront her and rock the boat with her. He's considering her feelings above yours. You are the third wheel. I suggest you find a relationship where you're appreciated and let him have his pick me girl. Go find happiness with someone who puts you first. He ain't it. Opie responded saying, it really hurts to see him prioritize her. Throwaway says, I send heart emojis to my friends all the time. That isn't the problem here. For 3 years he has witnessed her behavior. I don't believe he didn't notice it. He hasn't stood up for his girlfriend one time, and the friend is being petty. If you want someone who will stand up for you and be there, find someone else. Also, if you decide to stick around, give it a year, and if he hasn't proposed by then, he ain't gonna. I suspect he's not gonna at all though. I think he doesn't care about you as much as you care about him. Someone said that maybe they haven't dated, but have they hooked up? Opie said, that's what I wonder. I'm aware they used to go out for drinks, just the two of them, before I was in the picture. I know that isn't immediately indicative of them hooking up, but my boyfriend ended up taking me to a bar he'd gone to with Nell, and it was romantic. Fancy, with dim lights and stuff. Not a casual bar. The more I articulate this rather than keep it bottled up, the the more I think I've been stupid in not seeing it sooner. And I just want to read the comment after that as well, because I think it's an important comment from Affectionate Bite 3827, who says, "You are not stupid. When you're a person of integrity, it's hard to imagine that someone else would take advantage of your trusting nature." So OP comes in with her update and says, "First, I'd like to sincerely thank everyone for the kind comments. I didn't expect so many responses and I appreciate them all. I wanted to provide everyone with an update because a lot has happened. A few days ago, after a lot of tearful soul searching, I decided the best thing for me would be to walk away from the relationship. I sat my boyfriend down and talked to him about it. I explained that I always felt like the third wheel in my own relationship and that for my own happiness, I didn't want to be in a relationship that made me feel that way anymore. I gave examples to him that I did in my original post, such as his lack of boundaries with Nell and his disinterest in standing up for me whenever she mocked me. I also said my trust in him had been eroded to the point where I felt unsure of what I really was to him. I told him I still cared about him and wanted him to be happy, but that I wanted to be happy too." My boyfriend sat silently for a while before asking, "So, you're jealous of Nell?" I felt like he'd barely processed anything I just said. And when I tried clarifying, he got defensive and told me he was allowed female friends. I could tell he wanted to turn it into an argument. And since my mind was already made up, and I'd said what I wanted, I ended the conversation and he played a computer game and acted like I wasn't there as I packed my things and left. I've been staying with my best friend, who's amazing and always so supportive. We're actually looking into sharing a place officially. I burst into tears on her doorstep and we hugged it out, before having a movie night with pizza and some wine. It felt really therapeutic, like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. My family had been amazing too, rallying around and taking me out for little meals and stuff. I even got 1 or 2 sweet messages from my boyfriend's friends saying they were sorry and that they fully understood my point of view, which is interesting. I imagine that would be the end of it. But the next morning I woke up to messages from a number I didn't know. It was Nell. I honestly didn't think she'd contact me, so to see walls and walls of text in my inbox was a shock. Let me run down some of the things she said. She repeatedly insisted that she never bullied me, and said she had no idea where that came from. She said I'd always seemed cold towards her, so tried to make little jokes to break the ice. Openly mocking someone is an interesting method, but I digress. Lastly, she told me I was making things up by suggesting she ever had a thing with my ex. They were just friends. She finished with a passive-aggressive apology that I'd ruined my own relationship by being jealous and listening to the voices in my head. I didn't respond to her venom or try to get the last word. I know she wanted to repeat her tried and true method of hitting out at me and enjoying my reaction, so I didn't give her one. I've been focusing on other things to start building my self-esteem and happiness back. My ex has not tried to contact me since I left, and I'm glad. Frankly, I think him and Nell are perfect for each other. I'm well and truly done with this, and I'm so excited for new things in my life. My friend and I are making arrangements to officially have a place together, and I actually got promoted at work today. I feel like it was a little hug from the universe. In all, things are looking bright. So to end things, I want to thank everyone again for the messages. I think hearing your opinions as well as getting my thoughts out in a post are what really opened my eyes and allowed me to leave. I finally feel like I'm making myself the priority. Feels pretty great. And you know, it's an absolute shit time for OP to go through, but I can't help but feeling buzzing for them by the end in the way that they're talking about their life now, the way things have changed. And you know, leaving them in the lurch and not responding to them was absolutely the correct way to go about it. Let them sit there, let them think, let it play on their own minds. Bloody arseholes. And to me, the way you talked about it in that update, it sort of said it all to me that his friends, your family was all waiting for something. It was all waiting to rally around for you. The friends messaging you. It just kind of felt like they all knew what Nell was like anyway and could see something going on. So all I can say on the back of this one is fair play to you, OP. You live your best life and enjoy it without the shitheads in the background, right? But anyway, now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.